It's time for the third episode of Ericsson's 5G Talks, and this time we dive into the question of energy usage and how to keep the cost of powering networks under control. Energy has been a top concern for every business over the last year. But if uncertainty over energy supplies, rising inflation and the need to go green aren't already big enough challenges, telcos face the additional pressure of needing to build for the future, because 5G is set to revolutionise the future of connectivity and the future of our industry. But to seize those opportunities ahead, the energy costs need to stay under control. So what can be done to make the 5G revolution cost-effective and more environmentally friendly? Today we'll dive into what the energy curve is, why that matters, and what actions we can take. I'm Angela Lamont, and today I'm joined by Ericsson's Noelia Lopez, Sustainability and AI Marketing Driver, and Leah Ziefer, Head of Networks Pre-Sales, as our very own power players who can guide us through the energy challenge. Later on, we'll also be joined in the studio by Andrea Donner from Vodafone and Leif Heitzer from Deutsche Telekom to give us their take on the energy curve and what they're doing to stay ahead of it. And remember, Ericsson's team of experts are on hand right now to answer any burning questions you might have. So just tell us your thoughts in the chat window. But first, let's set the scene and find out more about that energy curve.
To break the energy curve, we can't carry on as we've always done. It's time to start making real changes. Let's advance the way we plan, deploy, and operate our mobile networks. First, network planning needs to embrace more aspects. To achieve the lowest energy consumption possible, a sustainable network evolution plan needs a holistic view that includes both business goals and sustainability targets. For example, traffic load paired with user experience observations enable accurate site dimensioning and determining where to activate energy-saving functionality. Modernization of the installed base is vital when scaling up 5G and creating a network for the future. Even while adding spectrum and capacity, it's possible to reduce energy consumption. More compact and energy-efficient sites cut the total cost of ownership significantly. By operating intelligently and combining the power of data with artificial intelligence and machine learning, we can leverage energy-saving capabilities and maintain user experience to reach energy performance goals in the entire mobile network. With this approach, it's possible to break the energy curve and deliver the best user experience. Start your journey today on the road to breaking the energy curve.
So, Noelia, can you begin by giving us some background? I mean, why is energy so important to telcos right now?
We provided this data in the Breaking the Energy Curve report. Mobile networks are responsible for 0.6% of the global carbon emissions, and the majority of this energy is consumed in the radio access network, around 75%. We also estimated the annual energy bill in 2022 for telcos was $25 billion, and now the energy prices have increased 30% according to the International Energy Agency. So this figure is much significant. So with these figures, we can understand why telcos are sensitive to the energy prices. But we have seen not only for obvious reasons in European operators, we have seen this focus on energy globally. And the telcos are demanding more energy efficient solutions.
Thank you. So some huge figures there. Leah, how does this impact a rollout of 5G? And presumably that's only adding to the energy bill.
The telcos now know that 5G is the future, 5G is a necessity. However, they are kind of puzzled, concerned about the fact that while they're building the 5G infrastructure, the energy cost will increase. And it's actually the operational cost of energy that they plan for, and they aim to pay for it by adjusting the prices of the new 5G services accordingly. And something else is that while the mobile consumption of the power consumption of mobile networks is rising, what we see is that the power efficiency in its new generation has a marginal improvement factor, and this is a pain point. And along with that, the question is, how can we monetize 5G and pay for the energy at the same time? And this is tricky because we are still in the early phase of the 5G investments, and we still have a long way to go till we see that the 5G will be monetized and we will have increase in our revenues. However, having said that, there is another positive aspect. We know that when we invest in 5G, there will be rewards, twofold rewards. If we invest in 5G, it is as if we invest in social economic growth as well as sustainability. And we at Ericsson, we have recently published a report touching exactly the benefits of 5G in 15 emerging markets, including Mexico, Chile, Brazil, and highlighting the benefits of 5G in productivity and efficiency.
Because we're still going from the investment phase in 5G and we're not really at that fully operational phase yet, it feels like we're at an inflection point. Would you agree?
Yes, totally. So, and I think one of the factors is that we haven't seen the potential of 5G realized yet. So let me elaborate. In Europe, we have deployed 5G over mid-band. And this is great to improve enhanced mobile broadband and deliver faster speed to mobile devices. But this can be seen as a 4G upgraded in terms of capacity and reliability, not as unleashing the full 5G potential. And we will see the 5G promise when 5G is rolled out over the high and low frequencies, because the high frequencies or millimeter waveband will provide the really fast speed for the high traffic cities, and also will boost the connectivity in the rural areas. And moreover, we will be able to transmit the same data with 30% less of energy by refarming those frequencies. And there is another aspect, which is we are witnessing the first attempts of network slicing usage, and this is a real game changer, because the operators will be able to increase the revenues from both consumers and enterprises by providing premium services. And for these premium services, you need to fully guarantee the bandwidth, the latency, and other network requirements, and it's not valid the best effort anymore. Some example is the XR applications that can be premium services.
Great. So Leah, how does energy usage play into this dynamic then?
True. We are talking to our customers, and it seems that the telcos are, because of the energy price worries, they're a bit reluctant to continue the 5G investments that they need to do anyhow for the future, especially because there is still some time till we see the full potentials of 5G being fully monetized. However, 5G is a big change and will bring a big change in the business environment, but this has not happened yet. Therefore, the operators do not see at this point the benefits, but the benefits will definitely come. And when the demand emerges, they need to be there to meet it. In addition, we believe that in the next 2 to 3 years, there will be a great shift from mobile broadband business to a new era where we will have 5G slicing with new services, new products, new business models, and they can take benefit of that. And we need to remember, of course, that as with any new technology, we have the first mover advantage. So no matter how worrying, how concerning is the topic of the energy price, we need to remember that now is the time to bring and build the business of the future.
So that's what our Ericsson colleagues think, but what about the telcos? Let's find out by speaking to two of them now. First up, I'm joined by Andrea Donner, Chief Network Officer at Vodafone UK. Thanks for joining us, Andrea.
Thanks for having me.
So how is Vodafone modernising its networks to reduce energy consumption? So
we're modernising our network in two aspects, in two different dimensions. We're modernising and introducing new technology when we roll out new base stations and new technology, but at the same time unburdening ourselves from the legacy equipment that we have in our network. So it's a twofold approach, introducing new, more energy efficient equipment, and then ensuring that we deal with the burden of the old equipment that is energy hungry.
So how is energy efficiency and sustainability impacting Vodafone's strategies?
Vodafone, being a purpose-led organization, has put sustainability, social and environmental issues at the heart of its strategy and its operations. We subscribe and have signed up to the science-based climate targets. The net zero targets will be achieved globally by 2030, and we will halve for our own operations, for our own share of our contribution to carbon emissions. And we will halve that for our supply chain management. But in the UK, we've gone one step further. We're going to deliver those net zero targets by 2027. It's really important that we ensure that all the business departments sign up to these targets and have very clear governance. We've established a net zero steerco to ensure that we have the resource, we have the budget, and we have the focus on all the business functions to deliver on those net zero targets.
Now, of course, when it comes to energy efficiency and reducing our CO2, it's very easy, isn't it? I mean, we all have these targets for 2030, and it's very easy to look at it as some magical year when everything happens. But have you got a roadmap to make sure you're very firmly heading towards it in the right direction?
Absolutely. We've defined a 5-year carbon reduction plan with clear timelines, with clear resource assigned, with clear budget assigned. We've broken it then down to the various constituent parts. We are obsessed with energy efficiency. We take every opportunity to reduce. I'll give you some examples. Working with Ericsson, we've introduced the most efficient antenna available in the market that reduces energy consumption by 40% during busy hour. We look at our legacy estate, as I said earlier, and we have to intervene on that legacy estate, switching it off as early as possible to reduce that energy-hungry equipment. We've also adopted artificial intelligent algorithms that switch off the radio intelligently as the traffic flows and as the ebbs and flows during the day. So there isn't a single action or a single silver bullet, sorry. It's all of those activities together that drive the efficiencies into the network.
It's good to hear you being obsessive about it. That's what we like to hear. But which of those activities do you think will make the biggest impact on sustainability for you?
So for me, there are 3 main areas. One is that strict governance and that clear focus from the very top on the board of all the companies, of our company and all the other operators, to know that the net zero is a target we will achieve. So clear governance and clear support from the top. The second is partnership with the likes of Ericsson and other vendors to have the latest technology that enables us to bring that innovation to the market. And third is buy-in from the people. People believing that they can make a difference. Every single individual in the organization should realize that they have a direct impact on the energy that the company and the network is consuming.
Andrea, thank you so much for chatting to us today, and it's great to hear the passion you have for getting this done. Now, Leif Heitzer from Deutsche Telekom has spent his last few years working on his company's efforts to build a more energy-efficient network too. So let's now get an insight view on a 5G site of the future. Leif, thank you so much for joining us. Can you tell us what you've been working on at Deutsche Telekom?
Happy to do so. So first of all, Deutsche Telekom is not only committed to be leading digital telco, but as well leading digital sustainable telco. This means, for instance, last year we already switched towards entirely usage of green energy across the globe. Now the question popped up, which role does own produced energy play in this game? Might it be via solar or might it be via wind, for instances? And here we started with a very special use case looking at further increase of autonomy with a fully energy autarky site. This had been our first idea, where I said, okay, we select one site. Then we started to put solar next to this, well dimensioned, including a battery for obvious reasons. Started to learn, and while simply working or solely working with solar, so PV in Germany, can become a bit tricky. We added wind as an extra wind turbine to this, and with this already we had a good integrated solution of wind, solar, battery storage, plus energy from the grid. Energy from the grid then already means, okay, Dittenheim is not a fully autarky site, but we saw more and more use cases emerging. For instance, making use of this combination for peak shaving. So for instance, storing energy while produced and using this then while energy from the grid is either more expensive, or while, as a theoretical example, there's even scarcity of energy from the grid. Might be, you look at this energy crisis, some of these scenarios thinkable of, or the use case of resilience, or the use case of complementary solutions feeding energy then into the grid, which currently neither is the case in Dittenheim. What makes it really a brilliant solution there is then this management component to be capable to smartly and integrated management, all those different, not just energy production and storage components, as well moving then towards the radio site itself and the equipment. So looking at the traffic at the site, predictions and all that. So with this, we are then further growing.
I understand you've found one route to sustainability is by moving to new power sources.
Definitely, and I do see your question twofold. So on the one side, on the renewables, scenarios such as Dittenheim will play a role here and there where it makes sense. Might be even different in other countries. Look at Greece, wind on those islands, or the use of solar, definitely. But even if we would equip those sites where it makes sense, office locations and others with renewables, we would end with a one-digit percentage number, which is good because we are a large energy consumer, and every small kilowatt hour added to the grid or added to the entire energy picture is a good one. So we have green energy. We will add here and there wind and solar. We will not become an energy producer on our own. What we will do also as an invest into green future of our society is we will significantly increase the range of power purchase agreements of Deutsche Telekom towards 50% in the upcoming years. Your second question more addresses then the energy efficiency question. I would say green energy is a must, but even better would be not to consume energy, which is not an option in our business at all, because telecommunication builds on the use of energy, obviously. But how about best energy efficient solutions? Start thinking on a silicon level, on a chipset level, the components, the material, the hardware, the software design, up then towards the boxes, the integrated components, including as well AI-based software to steer this. As well, it needs to get incorporated into the architectural design, into the planning of the topology of our networks, how we run our networks. We need and must to get energy efficiency into the DNA of our company. And yes, it is part of DT's strategy for sure.
What are you working on right now?
Dittenheim is an excellent site then to test out different scenarios. For sure, I could then imagine also to, let's say, to get better connected to even, let's say, prices at the energy spot market, for instance, then to take this into consideration, weather forecasts, all that, a deeper integration with the management of our radio network itself. So a kind of AI-based steering of capacity of our networks, then again, to reduce energy consumption. Or together with you, we are currently on the way to integrate a fuel cell. So a fuel cell as complement to the batteries, a fuel cell as replacement for diesel generators. And theoretically, even why not, depends then on the site. If we have, let's say, overproduction of energy there, working with an electrolyzer and even producing green hydrogen on such site. In case that it's technically doable, and I think it is, and whether it makes economical sense. That's then mainly on Dittenheim, so more to do there. And then for sure, together with you as a partner, to work on the other questions about circularity, best use of material, most efficient use of material, reuse of material, and our super huge task in the industry of further bringing down emissions. Means especially referring to scope 3, so where you play a significant role as our industry partner, as well as our customers do. On the one side, scope 1 and 2, so on our own side, we are well on track, but scope 3, the same for you. We need to do more, and we will definitely do more.
Thank you so much for joining us, Leif. So we just heard some great insights from Leif there. Why do you think that telcos are feeling so much pressure on energy right now?
This is quite important. Let's look a little bit back. I mean, over the past few decades, we have been going from 2G to 3G to 4G. And in this evolution, what we have seen is that power consumption was increasing in a steady fashion. And at the same time, consumers are becoming more mature. They're demanding more. They're demanding more data. They're demanding higher data speeds. And at the same time, what we have seen from the Ericsson Mobility Report analysis is that in only 1 year, the mobile data traffic increased by 38%. And we expect this to continue and grow further. At the same time, when it comes to the average monthly smartphone usage, today is at a level of 19 gigabyte, and we expect that by 2028, this number will rise to 46 gigabyte. So we are discussing about big numbers, and this has a big impact also on the network. We need radios that are very powerful, that they can address and deploy more than one frequency band. And at the same time, we need sites, we need to densify the network, we need to improve our coverage. It is inevitable that this will require additional energy for all these digits, for all these 0 and 1s that we need to transfer to our phones.
Noelia, this is clearly of huge concern to telcos, but is it being discussed at a really high level, like in the boardroom?
Absolutely. And we have seen a big shift in the C-level over the last year or so. So the energy topic is now at the top of the agendas. And of course, reliability and user experience, they are very important topics. And but they are not the only criteria to make decisions. And we can understand that one of the reasons is that the energy cost is impacting the profitability, the business profitability, together with the net zero targets that the operators have.
Thank you. So it's clear that there are some competing priorities that the industry is facing at the moment. We want to build out 5G, but we also want to reduce energy usage and continue the good work in shrinking our carbon footprint as well. But do the two need to be in tension, or can they be reconciled? Well, let's find out and dig into some solutions. So Noelia, let's talk about this energy curve. Is it destiny that energy curve is just going to keep going up and up?
Not at all. And 5G has the potential to make completely different, to break the energy curve. So 5G infrastructure can end up consuming less than the previous technologies. And this is a change in the way and the economics of running a mobile network. So telcos can have it all. They can deliver faster, they can more reliable, and cutting costs.
Leah, this sounds almost too good to be true. How can you manage this?
There are concrete things that we can do. First of all, we all know that 5G is more energy efficient technology and solution comparing to 4G. For example, with the 5G, we can increase the throughput of a radio by 30 to 40%, and for the same volume of data, of course. And this can be done because we can transmit more data, and this is translated to cheaper gigabit per watt cost base. At the same time, based on the field measurements that we have done, we have seen that when it comes to the 5G spectrum, TDD, and TDD stands for time division duplex, what we have seen is that 5G spectrum in TDD is 13 times more efficient comparing to LTE FTD and 7 times comparing to LTE TDD. And although this might sound a little bit technical, it's not. It actually means that with 5G we can transmit more data at the same space while saving energy at the same time. And this is something that is what we would like to promote, and this is what gives us at the end of the day the energy saving that we want to have in the telcos network. And it's actually amazing to see how technology is evolving. We are still in the early days of 5G, yet we have already the radio hardware that supports 3 frequency bands in one radio unit, and with that we can reduce the overall power consumption that we have on the network. And we should not forget that with the 5G TDD we have the massive MIMO technology, which further improves the data transmission in the network.
That is correct, and we have just announced a new range of radios and transport solutions that we provide 40% higher capacity with 30% less consumption than previous generation and 50% less embodied carbon footprint.
So, Leah, is the solution to this mostly about the hardware or also about the software or something else?
Actually, it's all 3 of them, because we have 3 key pillars that our telcos would like to take care of in order to optimize the energy usage. First of all, it is the hardware. With every new hardware platform, the energy efficiency is improving. And we can say that in our 5G newest solutions, we have achieved to have 10 times more energy efficient solution. And this is very important for exactly the cause that we want to achieve. At the same time, we have the software. And if we focus on the 5G, the intention, the objective is to reduce the average power consumption by utilizing run software functionality, energy saving features, while maintaining the service coverage. And it's important also to note that with 5G hardware and software, we approach a different granularity. For instance, when we have low traffic, what we can do is to lower or even switch off transmitters in the network. And this gives us dramatically improvement in the energy efficiency. We've mentioned about software, we mentioned about hardware, but in order for the software and hardware to work well together, we will need to have analytics and a special software in our network. Because when we want to lower the power that we transmit in the network, we need to be sure that there is a good balance between the power consumption and the customer experience. It's important to keep this balance and everything to work perfectly together. So it is important to have the right data, it is important to have the right analytics, and it is important in order to be able to take the right decisions at the right time.
All the jigsaw pieces fitting together. So it seems what we've learned over the course of our conversation is that 5G has the potential to finally crash that energy curve, increasing energy efficiency while delivering the transformative capabilities to our customers. But how can telcos seize this opportunity? So, Noelia, we know that the technology is there, right? So does it also require a bit of a change of mindset?
Correct. At Ericsson, we believe that operators will succeed if they take a holistic approach. And this holistic approach is needed to meet business and operational targets. So what is this holistic approach? This holistic approach means that we need to plan, deploy, and operate mobile networks differently. So we need to take the opportunity to modernize the site when we deploy, and we need to operate intelligently. And here comes also AI, the networks. So this is about looking wider than the traditional network KPIs that are based on network performance. We need to really balance, acknowledge the trade-offs to find the right balance between the network performance and the user experience in the radio site, and still deliver the best user experience in all the sites. What do you think, Leah?
I do believe that it's understandable that the telcos feel at this moment not that comfortable with this change of thinking. Metrics such as network performance has been key in their agenda. I mean, it used to be everything for them. But we believe that now time has come to do this mindset change, because 5G is a game changer and it has the capabilities to crash this energy cost curve and to provide to the telcos with the tools, the means, whatever they need in order to effectively manage their network in the best possible way.
And that sounds like a great place to end. Let's approach the energy challenge with a more holistic view. So thank you to Leah and to Noelia for joining me. And I know that many of you will have loads of questions about 5G, energy usage, and much more besides. But good news, the gurus at Ericsson are still here to answer your every burning question, and they will be for another 30 minutes after the end of the show. So please do keep your questions coming. Just pop them straight in the chat window. Thanks again to all our guests today. So Leah and Noelia, of course, but also Andrea and Leif, and of course to you for taking the time to join us. I hope our programme today has energised you to think carefully about your business's energy usage and how best to take advantage of 5G. Until next time.